Our number 2, let's start with a little bit in the NFL because a trade that kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of folks. The Chiefs sustain their dynasty, and this is what great franchises will do. They trade L'Jarius Sneed, one of the best corners in the NFL, to the Tennessee Titans, and they get a third-round selection in return.
Yeah, this felt like both, hey, we'll trade you Sneed for what you have in your pockets, and also this is all you're going to get for him because you're trading for the option to pay him. It's not a guy under contract, or so it kind of split the difference. This is, I think there you had the Jamal Adams trade to Seattle where they vastly overpaid for a non-priority position at safety. Whereas I think if you're going to overpay or overextend yourself, doing so for the best corner or second best, third best at worst corner in football, is probably okay. And even then, because they're looking at the option to pay him and they're not paying anybody else on the roster other than 2 wide receivers, really, they said, screw it, why not? Now, I'm beginning to understand why Mike Vrabel might have been just throwing his hands up in the air, because what the hell are the Titans doing? I don't know. They don't really make a ton of sense with what they're doing right now. But I guess if you can go get that kind of guy for that cheap, quote unquote, it's a good move for the Titans.
I mean, they're upgrading in a division that, I mean, you can compete in.
Sure.
Especially if Will Levis is healthy, and now you have Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, aging DeAndre Hopkins. But they went out and they got Awuzie, the corner from Cincinnati. So now you have bookend corners. You're going to upgrade there. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in Tennessee, but you go out and you get one of the best at his position, and you're giving up a third-round pick. Here's where you go, Tennessee, are you going to draft anybody with that third pick that is as good as L'Jarius Sneed, one of the best corners in the league?
And the answer is no.
No. But then you go from the Kansas City perspective, and this is the crazy part about the way that we've seen the trade market suppressed, and it kind of started with that Mac Jones trade. You don't have teams, and sometimes we have wild trades in the offseason where you're like, whoa, they got a lot for nothing out of that. We've seen a very suppressed trade market across the board in the NFL. L'Jarius Sneed, also a guy who needs to get paid, and you're gonna have to pony up for him. Of course, a third-round pick, but for Kansas City, you're going, we get another third. We have been knocking it out of the park time and time again with fit in our draft selections.
And we need to save money.
We have to save money. We have to get cheaper on that end. We've got guys on rookie deals, but guys like Trent McDuffie who've been playing really damn good football for you. You have to get creative. And like any great dynasty across any sport, they do this, where they'll trade a guy that they can't afford in the moment, but they know that they have faith in their process. And when you aren't drafting for a need particularly, those draft picks come a lot easier to you, and you can roll the dice a little bit more. You have a coach, you have a leadership that top to bottom, especially with the keeping of Chris Jones on the defensive side of the ball. Patrick Mahomes is going nowhere offensively. You have leadership within the players. You have leadership within the head coach that everybody trusts and is full-throated with in support of Andy Reid. And then Brett Veach, you just say, we trust you. You have carte blanche with whatever you want to do in the draft, that it's going to be the right fit, because there's no reason that you look the other way. It falls apart pretty quickly, though, when you have to start drafting for need. Look at Bill Belichick was the wizard in the draft. Yes. How is he getting these guys that are becoming, Pro Bowlers, and you're buried in the first round, or you're getting second, third, fourth round values? It's a hell of a lot easier when your leadership structure is in place and you have star players on both sides of the ball that keep everybody in order.
And that's a big part of this. And let's say the Chiefs have been very good in their scouting and in their development, which they have. So now you add another draft pick to your pool. Maybe at the end of the first round, there's somebody you really like. And instead of picking 32, you're picking 26.
You could jump over a couple of teams.
Go get something. Those are the kind of opportunities that you get when you get this. Because it was a third, and was it a conditional fifth?
I think so.
I think that's what it was. So again, more capital. So you get these opportunities to go, hey, we even if we're not going to use this to go draft a guy at this spot, we can use it to either move up or use in another deal. I just think there's ways to go about this that, unfortunately for everybody else not named the Chiefs, they continue to find, because the reality is that, they could get absolutely nothing for him.
Yeah. And this is how you continue your greatness. Like, if L'Jarius Sneed isn't as dominant in Tennessee, how many times have we seen this where a guy leaves and then all of a sudden doesn't work out? He comes back and he becomes a great player again for you.
You go and get paid, otherwise known as the
Deion Branch
or the Jackson cornerback.
J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson. They said the Chargers.
Yeah, it turned out he didn't even work when he came back either, though.
Yeah, but he was cheap. The Chargers were paying him to play for the Patriots.
Very, very, very true.
So, you build those relationships.
I get where Tennessee's going with this, too, though, because if you had to go up against C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, and Anthony Richardson twice a year, probably going to need some corners. You're going to need some corner help there.
For sure. And if you look
at corner help,
their payroll is built around, here's their highest paid players: outside linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, then both wide receivers, the Hopkins and Ridley, then strong safety, corner, center, linebacker.
Got to get better.
And in there, you're going to slide in your number one. He's going to probably be number 3. Oh, no, Sneed's already on there. They have him listed as 19.8. So, most of their team is slotted in is defense, with the exceptional, hey, let's protect our guy with our quarterback with a center and a tackle and give him a couple weapons in Hopkins and Ridley. Otherwise, it's all defense.
Also coming out of the NFL today, a little bit more newsy. John Lynch told Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area that they are having ongoing conversations with Brandon Ayuk, who we saw how messy that was at the end of the season between Ayuk and the 49ers, the wide receivers on the 5th year of his deal. And Lynch told Mayoko that they are having ongoing conversations. None of them have revolved around a trade. And Brandon Ayuk, we remember, what was it, his best friend, or was it his brother?
I think his brother.
His brother and
was tweeting at going to be a Raider or something.
Yeah,
and that was right at the end of the season. Like, I mean, the dust hadn't even settled after the Super Bowl, and that had come out,
which makes you believe that John Lynch is full of crap. Trade discussions have taken place.
Well, I don't know if they've taken place or not, but he did. Brandon Ayuk did tweet in emojis. I speak emoji this time of the year. $, talking sign, cow, poop emoji, and then a walking emoji. So money talks, BS walks. That was what Brandon Ayuk had tweeted out. Here's something that Brandon Ayuk has to really understand, though. There are a bunch of receivers that are far better than Brandon Ayuk that need to be slotted in before he gets paid. I wouldn't be shocked one bit if the Niners are trying to get a deal done and Brandon Ayuk's representatives are pulling this thing back, because think of the receivers that are up for their negotiations at this time, because he was a first-round wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. Those guys, Justin Jefferson for sure is going to reset the receiver market, which means Tyreek Hill's $30 million. Justin Jefferson could be getting more than $30 million a year. So the representatives for Brandon Ayuk, they're in no rush to get a new deal done, because why would they when the market's going to change and the valuation of your slotted lot in life as a receiver is going to go up as those guys in front of you get paid more? If you're the 49ers, you're wanting to get this deal done now because the market hasn't really been reset yet. And Brandon Ayuk has to understand, you're not even the 4th best receiver in your own draft class, for God's sakes. So the priority to get you signed before everybody else is on the Niners, it doesn't behoove you, because you'll get more when CD, who is the 3rd best receiver in that class, finally gets his money from Dallas.
I will say, I think the 49ers should definitely entertain trading him.
To the Raiders? Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead. You'd probably be all for that.
I'm all for that, particularly if it's for like a L'Jarius Sneed type package.
Well, I don't know if you really and truly want that, because when you game plan for the 49ers, how many guys do you check off the box before you get to Brandon Ayuk? Christian
3.
McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. He's the 4th best option on that team.
Sure. He's second with the Raiders.
Okay, you're gonna want to. He wants to get paid
Just saying.
like number 1 or number 2. Or actually, he wants to get paid like a number 1.
Hmm.
We know that from his social media.
We'll see.
But the 4th best option isn't going to be as wide open in Las Vegas as he is in San Francisco.
He'd be better than insert what Raiders wide receiver here.
He does have some value, though, because he can play inside and outside.
He sure can.
And with the way that offenses are going, trying to get bubble screens, smoke screens, tunnel screens, that's all part of his game. So he'll have a little bit more value, but yeah, when
he's not a number 1 though. He's not a number 1.
He's a 2. It's a very similar but a slightly better version of Rashid Rice.
And here's the problem: like people get so being a number 2 is really damn good. I mean, you are a really good receiver, but he'd be second fiddle to Devontae Adams,
which is a great spot for him.
It is.
He would eat in that spot.
It is.
And if you can get Mayer a few more targets, get him a bit more involved.
Sure.
Then you're cooking with maybe not gas.
Danny's already convincing himself they're going to be good.
With AOC toting the rock?
He's trying to convince himself.
Look, I talked to a bunch
gonna be
of
good
the Raiders
again.
beat reporters over the weekend, and they all have me convinced that they're taking Penix.
Okay.
So I have resolved myself to that.
Husky fans are just going, oh God.
But it does sound like they may be trading back for him.
All right. Well, trading back is
that's
right
the way to
move
go.
there. That's the right move.
If they can get 2 firsts out of that spot, do it.
Good thing your O-line is solid.
You 2 firsts for what are they? 13?
13. Yeah. If they can get like what is it?
You're getting the Minnesota picks?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. If they can do that and then Minnesota moves up a little bit further.
But isn't Minnesota already ahead of them? Minnesota's at 11.
You're right. They're
one of the picks is ahead.
Yeah.
Minnesota's at 11 and at 23. So you'd move all the way down to 23rd and hope he's there.
I think he's there. This still.
Oof. All right. I hope he's there for you. I hope, because watching Delusional Danny take over because the Raiders have Michael Penix, it'll be fun.
It will be fun.
It'll be fun for all of us.
Because it'll get weird real quick.
All right.